live with it. Okay, there's a lot happening in chapter 9. So let's get digging into it. Verses 1 through 4 say, "And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the heavens, upon everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood." So Noah's told again to go out and multiply. I think it's the third time we've seen that, or at least the second. What does it say about how important this is? Every time it's repeated, it exponentially increases the importance. Adam had received instructions for eating back in Genesis 1 and 2, and all he was told was vegetables. Now Noah is given permission to eat animals. As far as we know, it doesn't appear that Adam ate any animals. Maybe this is because the earth is a whole lot less productive after the flood. By saying you can eat any living creature, does it mean no roadkill? Don't know. We'll see later in Exodus and Leviticus that yes, no roadkill. Of course, this means now man is animals' greatest enemy. God gives animals the fear of men so that they will avoid them. Before the flood, men had a different relationship with animals. If they hadn't been allowed to eat meat before, what do you think is going through their mind when God says you can eat these things? I mean, who thought up eating a lobster, looking at that thing and saying, "Oh, that looks yummy." And it is yummy, but it sure doesn't look yummy when you're looking at it. But God gives further instructions. Don't touch the blood. No eating it or drinking it. The animal must be fully drained of blood before eating it. He was to have respect for the blood because it represented life. In fact, other cultures are going to start eating and drinking the blood because they feel like it gives them the power of that animal. But it's not a superstitious thing. When blood is poured out, life is poured out. The importance of blood in the Bible shows in the fact that that word is used so many times. It's used 424 times in the New King James Version. The Jews also took this to mean that animals were to be killed in the least painful way possible. They were not to be tortured to death. Verses 5 through 7 says, "And for your lifeblood I will require a reckoning from every beast, I will require it, and from man. For his fellow man I will require a reckoning for the life of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image, and you be fruitful and multiply. Increase greatly on the earth and multiply in it." There's that phrase again. This definitely is the third time. So multiply the importance by 3. So spilling blood was an important issue to God. Notice how many times he says require. It's as if God is saying, if you think animal blood is important to me, human blood is that much more important to me because you are made in my image. When human blood is shed, God demands an accounting because we are made in his image and human life is precious. So it's basically a life for a life. We would call it a death penalty. In the original Hebrew, killing and murder are two different things. There are times when killing is justified in self-defense, in capital punishment with due process of law, in killing in a just war. There are times when killing is accidental, not murder. God is talking murder here. The Bible consistently teaches that the punishment of the guilty is the role of the human government. It's used as a deterrent. Look at Romans 13, 1 through 4. It also teaches that the guilt of unpunished murder defiles a land. Look at Numbers 35, 31 through 34. But it's beyond human blood. God doesn't condone the unlawful killing of any kind. Hunting is okay as long as it's for food. Verses 8 through 11 say, Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you. As many as came out of the ark, it is for every beast of the earth. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. Kind of funny, California is flooding right now. They may be wondering if this is a worldwide flood, but no, it's California. This covenant is made with man and with animals. God promises he's never going to destroy everything with a flood or cover the earth with a flood. This repeats and clarifies the promise God made in Genesis 8, 21 and 22. It's not like God's saying he did anything wrong. He can't do anything wrong or too harsh. He made this promise because he knew everything in the world would never be like it was in the pre-flood world. We may think we're getting bad, but apparently they were really way over the top bad. God took steps to make sure. He now imprisoned the cherubim-level demons and shortened the lifespan of man. Now, things are going to be similar according to Matthew 24, 37, but God is still not going to destroy the whole world with a worldwide flood. Verses 12 through 17, And God said, This is the sign of the covenant that I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all generations. I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth. Again, this is a covenant between God and all flesh, including animals, all living creatures. Some people say that there were rainbows before, but this brought a special significance. So, of course, with the canopy theory, there was a blanket of water that was released in the flood, and so the water cycle changed after the flood. So it could be the first rainbow. But it is a sign that God will always keep his part of the covenant. Every time we see a rainbow, just remember the faithfulness of God in every one of his promises. So, a bow. We keep seeing it referred to as a bow. That's not accidental. A bow is a battle weapon, and it's a hunting weapon. So imagine lightning bolts are the Lord's arrows. You see that in Psalm 18:14. So you need a bow to shoot those arrows. When a bow is hung up, it points away from things so you don't accidentally shoot anything. The rainbow is pointed up, away from the earth. It's a sign of peace. So notice everything in this set of verses is about what God is going to do. I make, I have said, when I bring clouds, I will remember, I have established. It's all about what God is going to do so far. He's doing the hard work. He just asks us to obey him. We don't do such a great job of that. Verses 18 and 19. The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the people of the whole earth were dispersed. What a different world they're coming into. Everyone is descended from one of these three. We'll get to the begats in chapter 10 and see who all came from them. But notice that we hear that Ham is the father of Canaan. We don't hear the other two. We'll see why that's important in a few verses. Canaan, Ham has a child and his name is Canaan. So we're going to see a lot about Canaan. Verses 20 through 23 say, Noah began to be a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk and lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and walked backward and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned backward, and they did not see their father's nakedness. Now, for us, this can be kind of difficult to understand what's the big deal, but it was a big deal. So Noah gets busy right away and plants a vineyard. He's going to provide for his family. He probably planted more than just a vineyard. The Jews say Noah invented the plow. So there's a myth that Noah found a vine floating in the water that had come from the Garden of Eden. So all vineyards come from that vine. Again, Jewish myth, not in Scripture. So just as Adam sinned through eating, Noah sins through drinking. It's the first mention of drunkenness in the Bible. Something that it was only after the flood that man was able to make intoxicating drink. And so if it was, did Noah know the effects of wine when he started drinking? He sure found them out. So the Bible never comes out and says it's wrong to drink, but it always says it's wrong to get drunk. So that becomes a personal, the drinking becomes a personal issue until it leads to drunkenness. Now, me personally, I have chosen not to drink because of my witness. So, what happens because Noah's drunk? It says that Ham found him, the phrase is lay uncovered. It has the idea of nakedness and association that's sometimes associated with sexual relationship. So what could that mean? Some say that this was a homosexual moment. The uncovering someone's nakedness is a euphemism for having sexual relations. Some Jewish rabbis have taught that Ham actually castrated his father, but don't see anything to support that. Others say Ham slept with his mother, but again, Scripture doesn't say anything. It says he saw his father naked. But the word saw, it doesn't mean a brief glance. It means to look at searchingly. So he ogled his dad. And the word specifically referred to looked at his male parts. So he wasn't lovingly glancing at dad's face. At this point, Ham's only sin here is seeing his father in an unrespectful state and making fun of it, mocking him as a father and as a man of God, because he goes out and tells his brothers. Literally, the ancient Hebrew says Ham went out and told with delight what he saw in his father's tent. In the meantime, Shem and Japheth do the right thing. In a respectful way, they will not only refuse to look on their father's nakedness, but they made sure no one else did. The word for the robe that they use is called shemla, which means a blanket at night and a robe during the day. So now what's Noah going to do about this? Verses 24 through 27 say, when Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done to him, he said, cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be to his brothers. He also said, blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servants. Okay, so a lot in there. What does it all mean? Well, first off, someone had to tell Noah what happened, because if you've known someone that's gotten drunk, their memory about events is kind of shady. So someone had to tell them. Why did Noah curse anyone? Not because he was hungover, not in anger, but in the spirit of prophecy. Curses and blessings were thought to have a powerful effect on the lives of those cursed or blessed, especially when given on a deathbed. So why did he curse Canaan, the son of Ham? Why didn't he curse Ham? So, of course, the rabbis had to come up with an answer. In the Midrash, they say Canaan saw Noah's nakedness first, and he told his father Ham. The verse does mention Noah's youngest son. And when you look at the list of sons, it's always Shem, Ham, and Japheth, which usually means the second son. So he's probably not the youngest. So it could be that it's referring to Canaan. Or was Canaan cursed because God knew a curse against a son is the worst thing that could happen to a father, to see your line cursed. Another interesting idea, maybe Noah gave this curse on his deathbed, and maybe Ham's already dead, so Canaan is the next. Maybe Noah saw something in Canaan that resembled Ham. Later, the Canaanites are going to be known for their sexual depravity. But again, none of those details are given, and they're not clear. In the meantime, Shem and Japheth, they're blessed. Shem's blessing starts off with a blessing to the Lord. Noah sees a special relationship between God and Shem. In this blessing, the word for God is Yahweh. That's God's covenant and personal name. The line of the Messiah is going to come through Shem. Most of the true believers are going to come through Shem. Then for Japheth, the word enlarge is a play on his name. Japheth's name means to make large. He's got a good blessing. Not as good as Shem's, but it's a blessing. And in his blessing, God is Elohim, which is a more common noun. Notice that Canaan is going to be a servant to both. In the Hebrew, it's a superlative meaning the lowest of the low servants. His servanthood is mentioned 3 times to stress the completeness. But notice it's primarily on Canaan's descendants, not on Ham's. If Ham had other children, they would probably, well, Ham does have other children, and they're going to become great nations. Most of the inhabitants of Europe and Northern Asia were descended from Japheth. It says his descendants are going to be so numerous and victorious that they're going to master Shem. Some people thought the descendants of Canaan were as the black people of Africa, so they used that to justify slavery. That's wrong. Some of the older commentaries I saw even talk about this. But Canaan was the father of the Near Eastern people, many of whom were conquered by Joshua when Israel took the Promised Land. Canaan is the father of the Canaanites, the people that occupied Israel and the surrounding areas while Israel is captive in Egypt. Canaan fell into the hands of Alexander the Great, who was from Japheth. And the line of Shem conquered the line of Canaan several times in history. Verse 28 says, and after the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. We don't hear anything more about Noah's life after this. We don't hear all the times since the flood to his death. But he was a man of great triumph and weakness. His godliness is remembered in the New Testament. He's a member of what's called the Hall of Faith. You'll find him in Hebrews 11:7. He's also called a preacher of righteousness in 2 Peter 2:5. He saw the building of the Tower of Babel. By calculation, Noah was alive until Abraham was about 50 years old. So Noah and Abraham may have met. This doesn't include the normal phrase we'll see a lot of. It says, and he had more sons and daughters. So maybe he didn't, Shem, Ham, and Japheth were it. Now, some say Noah had other sons, and they were giants. One of them was Tuscan, the father of the Germans. And a fourth son named Jonah taught astronomy in the world, and he taught Nimrod the art of war. Again, not in Scripture. So, with the end of Noah, we're going to see how the world carries on after this. And we'll check chapter 10 tomorrow. Thank you for joining me.